Sherry, we are known for Goldendoodles, Schnoodles, and Twoodles.
Yes.
So that all three of those breeds are amazing.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what the difference is between the three, though?
I can do that. So English Goldendoodles, that's the main difference. Whenever we talk about Goldendoodles, you know, there are Goldendoodles. There's the American Goldendoodle and there's the English Goldendoodle. We're known for the English Goldendoodle, which was created right here in Alabama. And I actually was the first person to ever breed the English Golden Retriever with the poodle to make an English Goldendoodle. And there was a purpose for that. And our purpose was because they are allergy friendly, or more allergy friendly and less shedding. And that served a purpose for our family, because I raised and showed Goldens before, you know, I ever got into Goldendoodles. And so whenever I had a child that was born with dog allergies, there was a problem. And so we created this dog breed, and it was fabulous. Okay, so that's a great breed. But because we breed for a purpose, and that is for allergy-friendly, low to non-shedding dogs, we realized that the Goldendoodle is not always going to be an option for every family. And so the Schnoodle then became another option for us, because both sides of the breeding, the Schnauzer and the Poodle, are pretty much non-shedding and more allergy-friendly. So if a family could not tolerate a Goldendoodle, we now provided them another option, because we love the Schnoodle as well, and they're teddy bear looking, just as gorgeous, great temperaments, great personalities. So for many years, those were our two options. Mm-hmm. But what we saw with the two options that we had was that there were some things that Carol and I were discussing when we were trying to determine dogs for some of our service dog clients. And she would say, you know, I wish that we had a little bit more focus of the Schnoodle, and then we had some of this loyalty and, you know, great personality and happy-go-lucky temperament of the Goldendoodle, and that would be like the perfect dog for this particular need that I'm wanting to train for. And I thought, but we can do that.
Right.
We can so do that. So we said, let's go ahead and do it. And so we bred the Goldendoodle, the English Goldendoodle, which is known for its calm, wonderful personality, clownish personality, to the Schnoodle, that is also known for its focus and very in-tuneness and very alert, and has just a little bit more caution. So you combine those two together and you get a beautiful, perfect new breed called the Teddy Bear Twoodle.
A Smeraglia exclusive breed. And that has been so amazing to see your consistency among three different breeds, but they all have a very specific need that they can touch. So that is excellent. That is a testament to why Sherry has created basically the industry standard across the board. So good job to you.
Thank you. Everything that we do is for a purpose. So they meet a need for many people.
So thank you for answering that. Sherry gets the pretty side of the business. She has the beautiful vision. She gets to talk about her gorgeous puppies. I'm going to throw it over to Carol, and she gets to talk about the bugs. So Carol, we have, you know, these amazing dogs. Now, why in the world would they come home with a parasite?
So parasites are smart. You know what? They live out in the environment, and just like bugs that people get, bugs that dogs get want to survive. They want to live, which means as soon as you learn how to do something to get on top of it, boy, they adjust and modify and change. And so we are in constant communication with our vets. We're in constant communication with infectious disease and parasite specialists to be constantly on top of what is the absolute best way to do everything. And you know what? It still adjusts and modifies, because bugs are smart. Whether it's parasites or viruses, they are in a constant state of mutating and changing, which means we have to be in a constant state of mutating and changing as well.
And which you're great at staying on top of that. And we are always, I hear you guys talk about it. I don't get so much in on these conversations, but you talk about, okay, what are we doing next?
Correct.
You know, we have never stayed status quo, especially when it comes to the treatment of our dogs. But there is this mentality out there of, but I spent this much money on my dog. How in the world could you send it home with a parasite that may cause something like Giardia, coccidia. Can we please equate that? Does a parasite equal poor housing?
No.
Does it equal not being taken care of as a puppy?
No. And you know what? The marketing on so many of the dewormers and heartworm prevention is that it's a prevention, which gives the impression that if we're doing what we're supposed to, we're going to prevent this from happening.
Right.
Well, that's a marketing tool. That's not actually what those medications do. Puppies and dogs are in a constant state of picking up bugs, and either their immune system is going to fight them off, learn how to battle it, learn how to fight it off, or we have to be in a constant state of deworming and breaking the life cycle of what they have picked up. So the terminology of prevention really puts out there in people's minds that we're messing up when we don't do, when we're doing everything exactly right. And it just happens that it just broke through.
They're everywhere in the environment. They're in the dog's world. And pretty much if you test it, any given dog at any given time, probably 80% of all dogs in the dog park would test positive for something because they're mouthy, they're eating things, drinking things, licking things, you know, putting their paws in their mouth. If they go where water is or bird feces or anything like that, they're picking up stuff all the time. So as pet owners and as caregivers, we have to constantly stay ahead of that curve.
Absolutely. And so one of the things you just commented on is research does actually show that at any given time, around 80% of the healthy dog population is carrying around Giardia and or coccidia. But because their immune system is doing what it should be, and the puppies are in a state of like homeostasis, they're just normal, their life is like it should be, and their immune system isn't compromised, there's no symptoms. And so with no symptoms, your dog's normal, eating, drinking, everything is fine. You're not going to the vet to go look for it. But when you get a brand new puppy home, first thing everybody's going to do is say, hey, let's see what we can find. And so it's not abnormal for your puppy to carry it around. In fact, your puppy carrying it and having those symptoms is a good thing. That says your puppy's immune system is doing its job. It's doing what it's supposed to and fighting it off and keeping it in check. So it's definitely not a bad thing.
So asymptomatic is actually what we ask. The minute we get a call from someone that says, hey, my puppy tested positive, we immediately want to know, okay, is it symptomatic or asymptomatic? Are they eating, drinking? Do they have loose stool, diarrhea, any mucus blood, anything? So we want to determine what's going on so we know the right path to take. But we've learned a lot in this area dealing with vets in 50 different states and around the world. We've learned that not everybody treats everything the same. And we actually have so much information. We're so much into research and development here. Carol keeps a database, and we literally can tell you what works best in your region.
We can. So we work with infectious disease specialists from everywhere. And what's really interesting is we've actually now developed enough partnerships and relationships with these vets that we're a resource as well, where they can communicate with us on what's working and what isn't, because we do reach out so broadly to different areas of the country. What works in a desert climate, what works in an icy climate, what works in South America, what works everywhere.
And us being in the South, we're in the rainy, humid areas, and so actually we can sometimes be at a greater risk because we have more water. I think in our area we have one of the highest levels of rainfall than any other city in the United States outside of Seattle, Washington. So our dogs in our area are always exposed to standing water and ponds and pots and flowers and things.
Well,
they're going to find that
they're drinking.
Well, and we talk all the time about how great it is to live in this agricultural zone 8B, because 8B, you have a long growing season because there's very little frost and freezing. But that also means there's very little frost and freezing to kill parasites out of the ground. So the other thing that means is the things that are still surviving and living have overcome the medications that have been given. They've overcome the dewormers that have been given, which is why we also have to constantly overcome that. So people who live in regions like Minnesota and places where it gets really hot and really dry, like out in Arizona, you have seasons where you have a mass kill off of these viruses, these bugs, these parasites, which means nothing survives to the next season. So medications that worked 10 years ago may still work in some of those areas. They don't here. And so we have to stay on the front edge of what's happening.
So true.
And it's good that we've been able to be basically a hub for that information, because we do get feedback from across the U.S. and a little bit internationally as well as to what works and what doesn't. That is just one of those things that can become a very scary diagnosis when you're sitting in front of your vet and you have no knowledge of what that means. They can capitalize on the opportunity for your puppy to be asymptomatic, not necessarily needing treatment, but convincing you that it does. So it's a topic that truly
you need to be educated.
You need to be educated on, but don't feel like you've got to go out and buy the books on Giardia. Just call our office, talk to Carol. Many, many years of experience will give you the tools that you need to confidently make decisions with your puppy.
And I will say one more thing to add to it. So Giardia is species specific. So a few years ago, maybe about 10 years ago, there was a vaccine company that marketed a Giardia vaccine. Well, a big part of their marketing was, oh my gosh, you need to do this vaccine because your kids can get Giardia. Giardia is species specific. I would highly recommend that you get advice about what is a danger or what you need to do with your child's care from your pediatrician. I wouldn't necessarily say that the veterinarian is the resource for your child's medical health. And on that note, again, species specific, you know, very rarely will Giardia jump across species lines.
That's right. And don't believe everything you read on the internet. Because it's
or don't read the internet.
Because really, really, you need to be hearing from somebody that has experience. We have great experience in this area because of where we live, and we've probably got more experience than most people out there. And so many of our vets will tell us, I've been doing this for 50 years. I've never gotten Giardia. Yet there's people out there that will just swear that you can get it, and you've got to steam clean your whole home and rip up your carpets, and everybody, it is not like that, guys. And so please calm down, reach out to us, and I promise you'll get the answers you need.
Absolutely. So in dealing with other questions that may cause a little bit of fear or panic, a lot of times you get your puppy home and you're loving on it and you feel this absolutely weird protrusion from their belly. And you immediately think, oh my gosh, it's a tumor. My dog, what is going on? They didn't tell me. All right, so what is this obscure protrusion, Carol?
So the most common congenital abnormality with a puppy is an umbilical hernia. It's basically an outie belly button, and it is totally normal. 99% of the time we catch them. But as puppies grow and develop, the size of that hernia can change. And hernias, sometimes they'll be poking out. Sometimes, depending on what the puppy's doing, it's not poking out. It's inside. So when we do our evaluations and check the puppies over, if at any time we notice a hernia, whether it's an umbilical hernia or a slightly different hernia called an inguinal hernia, we're going to notify you of that. But if it's something that was missed before your puppy comes home, it is the most common thing. It is an easy repair at the time that your puppy is spayed or neutered.
Sherry, can you just elaborate just a touch on, like, why do they even have it? What causes that to happen? Because it is very common. Why would that happen?
Well, think about when a puppy is born, they're in a little sack and they've got a cord in there, and the mom has to chew that cord. And some moms are more aggressive than others. They just get really into it and they pick it up. They'll have the cord hanging, the puppy hanging from their mouth. I mean, just dangling. If you've not ever seen it, you could be very shocked at what's going on.
What are you doing?
And there's so many times when we're there, we're just like, come on, calm down. Come on, let me take care of this and let us do it. But that's the main reason why they happen. And we did have actually a pediatrician come one time, and I was showing his puppy, and I told him about, the situation, having a little hernia. He was like, oh, that's nothing. We deal with that all the time. Most human babies I deal with, have this. So he was just calm with it, but he was a doctor, so he understood.
So if you find that you are concerned about something that you see on your puppy's belly, please know that it probably is just the hernia, and it requires no action on your part. But if you need further assurance or guidance, reach out to us. We can certainly help. It is a simple repair, either at spay or neuter, or it'll go away by itself. So education is empowering, and it really diffuses fear a lot of times.
That's true.
Okay, so, but in following similar feeds of odd things that you might see on a puppy, but really do not require being alarmed or overly concerned. Another common question that we get from you guys, and a concern, is what if my dog's teeth are not perfect? They have an underbite or an overbite.
Mine weren't perfect either when I was here. I had to get braces.
Only Caleb has the perfect teeth here.
So that's also incredibly common. So different breed standards actually call for different types of bite. So it's not unusual at all, especially as we are breeding for a blocky or stocky head appearance. That means we're breeding to get that muzzle a little shorter. Well, most of your short muzzled breeds have an underbite by their standard because that's what they're looking for. So it does mean occasionally we're going to see that. It is superficial only. Your puppy can do everything that any other puppy can do, just like the breeds whose standards call for an underbite, like boxers and whatnot. They have no problem at all with their underbite. So as a rule, we do have some little things with the teeth. Base narrow is something that we can see occasionally with our puppies that is involved with the teeth. And it has to do with growth. Basically, no puppy grows at exactly the same rate all at the same time. The ears grow, and then the tail grows, and then the feet grow. So both jaws don't grow at exactly the same rate at the same time. So occasionally the upper jaw will grow a little faster than the lower jaw, and you have a situation where the lower canines will impact the hard palate at the roof of the mouth. But guess what? That lower jaw is going to grow too, and it'll catch up and it'll line up exactly like it's supposed to.
And sometimes if your vet is concerned, they can remove those baby teeth and it'll be just fine. And I wish that there were orthodontics out there that for dogs, because that would be really great, because I know a lot of people would do it.
That is true. That would be funny. Dogs and braces.
I would love to see that. Being a dental hygienist myself, that would be a really great thing. So I like a great bite, but at the end of the day, it is just cosmetic,
Yeah, and the good thing about, again, a good and ethical breeder is that you should be communicated that type of information on the forefront.
That's right.
And we do our very best to keep you informed and let you know everything that we know, everything that we see. So, and not everyone would do that.
And we write all of those things on the temperament tests, and Carol does all the temperament evaluations and then puts the health notes. So when you guys get a temperament test, you need to look for that because it's usually always outlined there as well.
It is. And just a note on that. So again, some of these bite things are related to growth. And so when I do the temperament assessments and some of these health evaluations at an age where the puppies are going through a period of rapid growth, it can change. So a puppy that I look at 7 weeks old that has an underbite, it may be a level bite by the time it comes home to you, or there might have been a normal bite that changes into base narrow. We're not intentionally not communicating. Sometimes it just isn't there, or sometimes we are human and it is something that does get missed. Thankfully, that doesn't happen very often, though.
That's right.
And thankfully, at that point, we still stand behind our puppies.
Always.
And we do everything we can to make it right for you guys. All right, so the ladies always like to talk more. But now we're going to, we are going to involve you, Caleb. You've got a lot of great insight. So we have gotten to the point of, we've picked our puppy.
Okay.
They're great. They have no parasites.
Nothing.
Their teeth are perfect.
All right.
The only thing we need to figure out is, how do I get my puppy home?
Okay. Well, luckily, here at Smeraglia, like everything else that we do, we have multiple options that honestly are somewhat customizable for every style of life. Sherry's first initial is to come here. We always want to meet all of our clients. We love having them here, having that Smeraglia experience at the Chapel Barn, here in the estate, which is where we are right now, just really experiencing what all the things that we've been talking about that Smeraglia can offer and can bring to you as a client and have that family feel. If for some reason that's not available or not an option for you, we do offer other services in order to help get your puppy home to you.
That's right. Doodle Uber?
Doodle Uber is up to 600 miles. Doodle Dash, we actually go up to 1,200 miles right now.
And that's great because we were forced to basically create solutions.
Right.
Which is kind of where we always find ourselves, and that's what we want to be, are the ones that create the solutions for you guys. We didn't necessarily have to do that.
No.
We did our part in creating wonderful puppies.
That's right.
It's your responsibility to get them home, but we always want to be a resource and try to make it as easy as possible. And then just like the rest of the entire nation, you had to adapt to what's been going on. We had to come up with different options, and we still wanted to maintain what was best for our puppies. And so these travel options are not just throw them in the taxi cab and send them down the road.
No, absolutely.
It is great qualified people who know these dogs, who have worked with them and have been able to transition into this service. And so it's really, really been a great way. Yes, we want you all to come here. We want to see your face. We want to see our dogs. We want to see your face when you see our dogs. That is so much fun. But beyond what Caleb was talking about, you know, Smeraglia does try to do everything with excellence and offers stuff that really nobody else does offer, takes the time to offer, really cares. And so in that, another business was created.
That's right.
Sherry, tell us about the last option of travel.
Well, you know, if you can't come here, which is our favorite option because we do want to meet you guys, and you can't send someone to pick up your puppy, well, then, you know, we used to fly our puppies out through cargo, and we just felt like that wasn't the best, you know, way to send them. We felt that we wanted to put them in the hands of someone that could hand them over to you. That's our, you know, Dash and Doodle Uber, but also we have Au Pair Air, which is a service that my daughter provides, and that is her business, her, you know, service, and you have to reach out to her to get a quote, and it's probably the priciest option out there because she is flying your puppy to you, to your airport, and you arrive at your airport and she actually hands the puppy over to you on the day that you want, pretty much the time that you want. That's an exclusive service that she provides, and that is between you and her, and you can actually reach out to her, Lauren at Smeraglia.com, if you ever are in need of a quote. You can also reach out to the office, but she will handle that. And that is outside of Smeraglia. It is a service that she provides for our puppies. And the great thing about every one of our services is that when we hand our puppies off to these drivers or to Lauren, we know that we're putting our puppies in good hands, and that if anything would happen in transition, they are at least educated and qualified to recognize problems and to know how to take care of those. And that is why that is important for us to put them in the right hands. We also will go to the airports and hand off to one of your friends or family members if we need to, but all that is a service that you have to go through the office and reserve and schedule well in advance because those services do fill up.
Oh, they do. They fill up really, really fast. So just know that we have tried our best to meet everyone's needs and their transportation needs as we could and as this has evolved. And I think we have some really great options. Okay, now this last question is kind of for the table, and we can all answer this. So it's our responsibility to produce happy, healthy puppies, right?
We do.
Okay, we do that. We do our absolute best.
Yes.
And from there, after that, what else do our clients get from us? You know, I understand that we are family at that point.
That's right.
That's very important to you. That's important to all of us. Your family at that point. We offer continued education. We offer training resources. We offer actually a lot of resources when it comes to your dog. Communication maintains if you want it. But now let's talk just real briefly, you guys, because we got to close this out. What is the responsibility now of the client? We've done our part. Now, what is their responsibility? Because a lot of times what we see is they want to have the puppy, and then when it gets a little challenging or a little difficult, they want that to be our responsibility solely. So it's a big deal to own a puppy, but let's talk about what we expect from them.
Well, I think that number one is, as a puppy owner, you need to educate yourself. No different than if you were going to have a child, you would not wake up one day, have a child, and not know what in the world to do. You need to know ahead of time, you know, what is going to go into this? What do I need to do? What do I need to feed the dog? How do I water the dog? You know, what medical things do I need to know? Vaccination protocols and things like that. Number one, you need to find a vet in your area and get prepared for that. You need to have a training plan. Are you going to train your puppy, or are you going to have us train your puppy before your puppy comes home?
So in my view of that is, like what you're saying here, is you have a responsibility for educating yourself. So our end of it is the front side. We produce the great dog. We provide you the resources to get the dog and be ready for your puppy to come home. We also voluntarily have resources for you to continue that if you have problems, if you have issues, but please don't lose sight of the fact that our primary role is the front side of that, which means our parent dogs, our puppies, our temp test. That part of it is what our primary role is. We go above and beyond what a lot of other breeders do by providing the secondary resources for you. But, you know, it's very important to us, just like it is to you, but we do have a different role that is our primary role.
And we want to continue to always be a resource for you no matter what's going on. And we expect you guys to be just as responsible on your side as we are on ours. Caleb, tell them how they can reach out to us.
There we go. All right. So we have a multitude of options. We're obviously on social media. That is a great resource, both for information, education, and just to see cute puppies and have some fun. We also, our office email is info@smeraglia.com. Our phone number is 251-960-1311. And they can kind of get you to who you need to be in contact with. That's probably the easiest way, is just to reach out to our office. But again, follow us on social media. You know, we love interacting with people there. And we do a lot of fun lives and behind the scenes. And, you know, we keep it pretty fun with puppies around here.
Okay, I hope we have addressed some of your most common concerns and questions, and I hope that you guys recognize that knowledge is power, and we have empowered you today.